Love cliches. Number 5. Hero gets girl, true love, soulmate, predestined love, etc. These have been hung, drawn, and quartered in writing, mainly because they are used to support a romance that has no leg to stand on. Like, we've only known each other for 6 months, but I have never felt this way about anyone before. It must be fate. Ew. If two characters are in love, show us why. Don't just say they are. The word of God is not an excuse for poor romance development. Let them have things in common. Let them grow from one another. Let them know each other longer than a year before they actually get serious and decide to get married. Never use soulmates or true love as an excuse for characters being in love after just a month. No one will take you seriously. Instead, have the quality of the time counterbalance the quantity. In the book The Historian, the lead character's parents get together after knowing each other for only 27 days. But how they interacted and got to know each other made it seem so much longer than that. They grew and bonded and never used true love as a reason for their affections. They even said, "Are you sure you want to get married? We've only known each other for 27 days. Number 4. Happy endings. Do not give happy endings when the characters do nothing. In fact, the happier the story, the more tragic the ending, and vice versa. It's always better to have a character earn what they get. Handing them everything on a silver platter is irritating to read. Don't we all hate that person who gets everything and then gives nothing in return? It's the same in books. Give, take, give, take. You earn happy, you get happy. You do nothing, someone just has to die. Number 3, name dropping. Name dropping is when you just name brands or types of clothes. This goes for books, bands, artists, and clothing. It's lazy and is often used to promote stereotypes or to make the character look more interesting. For example, a goth character will probably get the following kind of name drops: books and rice. Bands, artists, Marilyn Manson and Evanescence. Clothing, Doc Martens. A prep will get Gossip Girl, Britney Spears / Jonas Brothers, and Banana Republic. When trying to make a character seem smarter, the character will often mention writers like Shakespeare, Jane Austen, Dickens, and of course George Orwell. Do not do this. It's lazy character development. You don't need to mention books, especially if they have nothing to do with the plot. Only mention specific books and bands if they are important to the plot. No one cares if Raven listens to Flyleaf or if Ashley listens to Hilary Duff. Number 2, weak villains. I don't know when all of a sudden being a bitch made you a villain. And suddenly that's become what a villain is. A bitchy, jealous woman. Because most young adult villains are women, especially when there's a female protagonist. And since most writers are female, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Because apparently the words rival and villain have become interchangeable. News to me. Also, killing people does not make a person a villain. Why? Everyone has the capacity to kill when pushed. A villain must be more than someone who stabs people. They have to invoke real fear and be a threat to a large group of people. Voldemort. Excuse me. Also, introduce the villain as soon as possible. You don't have to tell us everything, but let us know there's someone evil out there. Putting them in at the last second is annoying. Villains make the book. They are what allows the villain to act. Without them, you are stuck in one place for how many chapters the book is. Do not do this. Number 1, and most importantly, and the most overdone one, is Mary Sue's. A Mary Sue is at its core a self-insert, which is basically you, the writer, but better. Now this term gets thrown around a lot to describe the perfect character. And I, also someone who wants to be a writer, will admit it is hard not to write a Sue. After all, who wants to read about a dull character? Finding that balance is hard. And I know they have those tests, but let's face it, who actually answers those things honestly? Instead, here are a few things to keep in mind when you're writing a character. Avoid fancy, exotic names. A big no-no. Do not name your character after a jewel, after a bird, or anything like that. Isabella Swan? Let's not do this. Everbloom? Nah. If your character, and especially don't do it like by race. If your character is black, they should not have a name like Hisana, Rukia, Kagome, or Kikia, or anything like that. If they do, it should be treated as odd because it is odd in real life. Do not make your character pretty but humble as stated in the average girl plot. Do not force special onto her. If you suddenly make her a princess, kill her now. There's no reason for her to exist. Do not make her have 25 goddamn powers. If everyone in the friggin' book has one power, then give her one too. And the most important one is this. Do not have her look like you, but better. If anyone catches that, your character and you are screwed. In fact, your best bet will probably to have your main character suffer more than anyone else. Favoritism always shows who's a Mary Sue and who isn't. And that is my 10 things that writers do the most that is wrong. Hope you enjoyed.